I'm Alan, and I want to talk about a dirty word. So density, really important for walkable communities with great transit, right? But when we say density, what do other people think when they hear density? Do they picture the same thing we do? Or are they picturing this? What does density mean to people? Should we use this term? I'm here to tell you density sucks. We should not be using this term because we think great streets, we think places where we'd want to walk, we think nice neighborhoods, main streets, great places. Other people, when they hear that, what do they think? Cabrini Green. They think people who aren't like me, stacked on top of each other, maybe even developing world slums. Density means something completely different to some of the people you're talking to. This is what you see if you live in suburbia and you think about density. This is what you see. Is that where you want to be? So if we use that term, this is what we're thinking. They don't think, oh, there's a great restaurant near me. They think, I'm being squeezed. I don't have space. I can't get out. What am I going to do? So what does dense mean? Well, for a flourless chocolate cake, dense is awesome. But for people, has anybody been in the Tokyo subway? Look at this. Are these people? Is this the way we should treat people? How many neighbors do they have? Do any of them know each other? Have they ever met each other? Now, of course, what we should need to find another term for is great. This is a great shot in, I think, Georgetown, Virginia. Great place. A place that was built when density really just meant, well, I have to walk everywhere, so I should have a nice neighborhood and nice shops near me, and I should be able to get all the things that I need to take care of. The problem is, when we say something, it's connecting to lots of other things in people's brains. In our brain, density might mean a great walk score and nearby restaurants. In somebody else's brain, it means this: I'm trapped. I can't get out, I can't move, I don't have control, I don't have freedom. It might mean lots of traffic. It might mean overcrowded buses. It might even pull up more serious pictures of refugee camps and those people who don't look like me and probably don't have the same values that I do. Not just density, but anti-sprawl, smart growth, all of these things are getting co-opted. These terms, these technical terms, don't mean the same thing anymore. And so we need to make sure that we're careful about what we use. To some people, sprawl actually means freedom. It's a good thing. You can move around. You do what you want. Nobody's telling me what to do. I can drive whenever I want. Ignore the congestion, but I can drive whenever I want. So I'm telling you, you need to use words that really mean what you say, what you're trying to evoke in the person that you're talking to, not some word that you assume means something to them that means the same thing to you. So you've got to think about, did that make sense? No way. So why do people want this thing? I already talked about great neighborhoods, great streets. This is Mayberry downtown. Great neighborhoods, great places where your kids can go to the park because the park is close and there are lots of other kids and you can meet your neighbors, and lots of great things come with this idea. There's this idea about grocery stores. I'm sure there's somebody who knows this better than me. Supposedly they want something like 60,000 customers near them. At quarter-acre lots, that means everybody is more than a mile away. At 40 units per acre, everybody, or more than half of the people, are less than half a mile away. At 10 acres per lot, everybody's more than 9 miles away. Think about transit. If you live in a neighborhood that looks like this, you know your bus is not coming very often. There is a bus stop back there. If you live in a neighborhood like this, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be able to walk to the bus stop, it's going to be relatively safe, and the bus is going to come often. Can your kids walk to school? This is really important for me. My kids can walk to our school. Almost everybody in my kids' school can walk because we're so close to each other, and yet most people live in single-family neighborhoods. They were developed a long time ago where people thought about walking. Now we need to think about walking again and have those kinds of uses. We also know that it doesn't just lead to more transit. We know that it leads to more biking, obviously, and more walking, so that when things are closer together, people don't have to drive as much, and so that's a great thing too. But it's not density we're giving them choices, right? We're not forcing people on density on people. Think about, you might want a big lawn, but what do you want to do on a sunny Saturday afternoon? Do you want to be yelling at your kids to mow the lawn, or do you want to be with your kids down at the park playing? Okay, so this next one's kind of confusing. So 2 things I want you to take from it. 1, there are people who want to walk who can't because of where they live. And 2, there are people who are not that interested in walking, but they do anyway because of where they live. So on the next slide, you're going to see pie slices. The bigger the pie, the more driving. The smaller the pie, the less. The bigger the red wedge, the more walking. If you live in a high walkability neighborhood, of course you're going to walk more and drive less. But even if you don't care that much about walking. So think about that impact. This is part of what's so powerful about this thing that we no longer call density. When we asked in our region, do you support building more compact neighborhoods? 36% said yes. That's not too bad. When we asked, do you support building more neighborhoods where people can get where they need to go by walking, biking, or taking public transit? 80%. It's the same question. So think about what frame you're invoking when you use a term. Are you invoking the picture on your right or the one on your left? Because I'm telling you, there are a lot of people you're talking to, you use the term density, they think you're talking about this. And you want them to be thinking about what's on the right. So yes, it's got to take more words. Density sucks, but you can talk about, I love my neighborhood, and this is a great restaurant nearby, and I know my neighbors and all of that. So you can't use a single term. It's not as simple. It's not as short, but it's absolutely, absolutely critical to use a term that invokes what you mean. I want you to go out there and never say that damn dirty word again.